What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we get started with this video, I do want to let you know this video is sponsored by Milwaukee, my original company. I came up with this logo on my own. It's really taken off. I think people are really starting to get it now. But anyways, this guy who made this sign sent me this, a subscriber. I'll link him in the top of the description, and it's awesome. Go check him out for sure, but check that out. That is super sweet. I'm probably gonna hang that up. It's right there. So the whole purpose behind this, I get a lot of questions like, what's the deal with that? The whole purpose was I was getting a lot of comments about like, DeWalt's better, Milwaukee's the best, Ryobi, actually no one really said anything about Ryobi, but Festool, you know, Festool, Makita, and Milwaukee was kind of a way to say like, who cares, just whatever gets the job done, and that's still my philosophy. So I have a lot of DeWalt, a lot of Milwaukee, Makita right here behind me, and Festool, as you can see right here, which by the way, if you guys remember, several months ago, I cut the catalytic converter off one of my trucks to purchase this. Yeah, let me cut this off, we'll scrap it, then we're gonna get that Domino. I've done this a couple times now. And I got this with the intent to make doors with it. So the first door I ever made is actually right here. This is a true mortise and tenon door, so just traditional joinery there. The second door we ever made was loose tenon joinery right here, this 5-panel. So these two doors are done, and then the next door in my house is the laundry room, which is right behind that door. Laundry room to the common like living area, that's this door right here. So this door is now pretty much complete, ready to assemble. We're gonna get this thing glued up for you guys right here and show you how we got to this point. So like most projects you start in woodworking, the first thing you're gonna do is mill the lumber down. So we milled it to our correct thickness, which was 1 3/4 inches, and our correct widths, which those varied for stiles, rails, and muntin bars. So once we had all of our stock milled, we went ahead and ran our profiles on that stock, and we used traditional muntin bar profiles. This is probably the most common profile in America. So once we ran all of the profiles on our materials and muntin bars, it was time to do a dry fit assembly. But there was a big section of work in between all that, and that was this true divided light intersecting half flap miter section of millwork. And guys, this right here is the highlight of my carpentry career. I have never done anything that was this cool. I have a whole video on this, on how I did it and everything. If you're interested, I highly recommend going back and watching that. So once we had that built, it was really the hardest part. Then we can kind of sandwich that in between our stiles and rails and really do a dry fit and make sure everything fit together. And then it was time to bring out the Domino. You can see my marks there. Just gonna line up my gauge right there on those marks. It's as easy as that. And we should be good to go. Hit my vacuum. Nice. So dominoes, I know most people know what they are, but essentially all they are loose tenons. So here's the top rail of our door. We have a domino protruding out each side. And in traditional woodworking, this tenon, loose tenon, it wouldn't be loose, it would actually be part of this board. So you would, account for that in your measurements and in your build. So loose tenon means it's loose, it comes out. So Domino, very repeatable, very easy, very efficient, and I think it's gonna hold up well. So in this top rail here, as you can see, I have one Domino on each side. It's a smaller piece of wood, but on our bottom rail, which is kind of the foundation of our door, it's always a larger piece, and there was room to put 2 dominoes on there. So you can see I have those in here, and I kind of just spaced those out, just eyeballed it and said, hey, that's about equal distance right there. So once I had that mortise and domino in place, I was now ready to drill my holes for my screws, which by the way, guys, Right over here, we have a new toy. This is our Nova Voyager direct drive drill press. Super cool, a lot of features. Not gonna go into it a ton on here, but I'll show you my favorite feature. When I pull the lever to start drilling, it's got an auto start. I'll talk to you more about that later, but we got a drill press, and that made this real easy because I was able to mark off right where these muntin bars would intersect with our stiles and rails. So I go right in the middle, looking right down the middle of this bar, down, and then use that edge of the square right there to go down and mark that. I just used a framing square and I just brought that line over and I took it down to where I could find the center of this piece of the profile right there. And then I just made a little punch, drilled through there with the 1/8 inch bit, and then I came back on the back side with a 3/8 inch bit. So my screw head will go up through that hole, come out through this small hole, and it'll grab that muntin bar and secure it tight and really lock this whole thing together. Traditionally, you would cut a tenon on the muntin bar, which is exactly the same thing I was saying about this piece being one piece of wood and not having a fastener, quote unquote, to hold it together. So we're trying some unique things here, dominoes and screws, but I think it's gonna work and we're about to find out. It's always a nervous time because even though I know I dry fit this thing together, it's like, I hope this screw idea works. In theory, it works, but in practice is another story. Probably put a little too much glue on that one, but better more than not enough. It's like we say when we're cutting something, better long than short. So I'll go ahead, I could probably just actually kind of saturate that around. And if you'll notice here, this kind of circle cut right there, that's not complete yet. What I need to do there is I'm going to take a chisel and clean that up and make it square because I kind of messed up on my cope and stick joinery. I didn't really actually mess up, I just didn't realize the way that it went together, and I kind of shot myself in the foot on how that really could have locked together. But it's all good, it's all part of the process, and I think with these dominoes this thing is going to be super strong. I almost feel like whenever I push it in and it squirts out, it's like wasting, but I'm looking in there and it's completely covered on the side walls. So I think it should be good. It's just pushing out like what it can't hold, which kind of works because I'm using it on this surface right here where they're gonna come together. So now that everything has glue on it, I'll drop this in like this, and it kind of has to go in this way so it can like lock in. And then I can fold this one over and tap it in place. Get this pulled over. All right. Oh, there we go. It's closing up now. Yes, sir. And that one's closing up just like what I want to see as well. So we got our clamps on the ends. The most important part, I threw these squeeze clamps in the middle just to have even pressure. Everywhere you see a muntin bar intersecting a stile and rail, like here, there's a hole following that pencil line. That's where we're gonna drive that through. So if you didn't understand earlier, it's more clear now. Screw goes in there, comes up through here, grabs. I already pre-drilled a pilot hole for those screws to go into all these muntin bars individually. And the way I set this up on the drill press for the countersink, like borehole, is that the screw head would stop about there, and then these threads would be grabbing that muntin bar about that much. All right, here we go. We're going in. Ooh. Wow, that actually worked. Surprised that went as easy as that went. We have number 2 in. Wow. Ooh, I saw that one pull and grab it over. That's pretty sweet. It grabbed. It freaking grabbed. So we've got those 4 screws in on the stiles of the doors. I've got 4 more on the top and bottom rail. We're gonna leave those off for now because the clamps are right in the way and I don't want to disrupt that clamping tension right now. So we're gonna move on to plugging the screws that we just installed. So what I've got here, I'll show you guys. I drilled those holes, those countersinks, with this bit right here. This is a 3/8 inch bit, and I did that strategically because I knew I had a 3/8 plug cutter. And I've got this off-cut piece of scrap white oak. I'm just gonna get my plug cutter on there and cut me some plugs. I could just take a chisel in there, kind of snap those off, put a little glue on them. I'll get my fingers out of the way here in a second, but grain direction, yeah, it's about like that. So once I have it right where I want it, and that goes in to about right there. That hole's super deep, so it'll go in, you know, pretty far. But I want it, you know, just right above the surface so I can plane it down and make it even with the rest of the door. Just a little low angle block plane. And there we go, it's flush. Sucker's heavy. Oh yeah, guys, this sucker is heavy. Dang, could do freaking curls with this thing. Let's try to shake those dominoes out. Not happening. I want to like weigh this thing. It is heavy. All right, I'll get it set down here and get a look at it in its upright position. Check that out. That's just too cool. Like when I put, let me catch my breath actually. So when I envisioned like putting this shop together, this was in my mind. Not this exact style of door, but just doing really cool architectural millwork things and kind of taking our carpentry skills to the next level and sharing that with you guys. So yeah, speaking of the design of this, little backstory. Our neighborhood here was built in like the 20s and 30s, and a lot of those original doors, like the front entry doors, have this style to them, and we'd walk the neighborhood and see it, and I was like, hey, that's kind of a cool challenge right there. That door is just a super classic, timeless look, and let's try to build it. So yeah, it actually worked out. Next step in this process is to go get some glass from the glass company. We're gonna do either just a clear glass or some kind of historic wavy glass, nothing crazier than that. And then we have to mill out some white oak trim for the back as a glass stop. And after that, it's pretty much just hanging the door in the jamb. So this is gonna be a unique addition to this house and a unique addition to our skills as carpenters building something like this. So there you have it, guys, our first door built like this, and our first door in white oak. Many more to come in a white oak. This is the species I chose to build all my interior doors out of for my entire house, so I'll be knocking those out slowly but surely. So let me know if you have any questions on this build, and yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one.